What's up, guys? Texas United here with another look at some figures we got in this week. Today we are looking at the MAFEX Batman Hush Superman figure. Now, this is a new company that I've actually got into. I've had my eyes on these figures for a while. This company actually makes them look, they look really great. Actually in reality, my eyes were on the Cyborg Superman. I've been wanting that one for a while from MAFEX, and I actually went ahead and ordered one from AliExpress, but got canceled because of the tariffs. Thank you, Trump. Thank you so much. But anyway, so as I was looking for another one on, I went on Amazon to see if I found it. I stumbled upon this one, and this is, I believe, a repaint, or not a repaint, but a reissue. So, you know, he was sold out everywhere, and I found him on Amazon. I went ahead and ordered it, and he came in today, and actually, I'm very impressed. As you can see, it comes in this window box packaging. You can see the figure inside, the accessories, their head, the hands, you know. So it looks really, really cool. I really like the portrait on the bottom. And then you got the Batman Hush logo on the side. So let's go ahead and look on right here. You can see shows another portrait of the figure with the Batman Hush on there. On the side, you got this cool, you know, statuic, I would say, pose of the figure there. On the other side, there's another thing here, which looks really, really cool. And then on the back, you can see more of the figure, where, you know, I guess those are vines that are around him. I kind of got this, oh yeah, okay, so there's vines around him, and he comes with another hand that's actually Batman's hand, where he has I guess the kryptonite ring, I guess. So I haven't read this story, but this sounds very interesting. I'm gonna have to look this up and check it out because I'm very intrigued. And there's more of another, you know, when he's flying, he's fighting, and then other things here. A lot of Japanese. This came supposedly from Japan, so directly. So I'm actually pretty stoked to see this. I heard a lot of good things about this figure, so I'm actually looking very forward to unboxing them and getting a closer look. So let's go ahead and do that. What we're gonna do with this review, I want to go ahead and also just compare them to some other figures. This is a premium figure. This is not a cheap figure. This is actually pretty pricey. So let's see what all the fuss is about. All right, here's Superman out of the packaging, looking really cool. I'm really loving the colors that are coming out. Those blues, yellows, and reds just look so gorgeous. This is definitely a very good looking figure. I mean, for the price, right? So the one thing I did notice that I'm kind of like, is he is kind of small. Usually, like, for figures this price, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, I did get the Metacom Storm Shadow and Destro, and they were also kind of small, so quite interesting in that. But like I said, it's really nice. It looks really nice. So let's go ahead and get a closer look from head to toe. As you can see, here's his face sculpt looking really gorgeous. You can see on the hair, you got the blue wash on the top, the paint. Makes it look really nice. It gets that curl in the front. Gorgeous eyes. I mean, there's definitely a beautiful detail on this guy. I mean, what can I say? He looks really, really nice. Kind of sad there on his face sculpt, right? See, let's get that money shot there so we can put that on my as the background. As you can see, the paint is really, really nice. It's a nice blue going all the way down. Got some abs, and then of course the signature signature logo there, the S Superman. You know, good biceps, very muscular figure. Obviously, you go down, you got the yellow belt and the red trunks. Then you got those muscular legs, and then down to the boots. It looks really nice. It looks really fluid. You can see nice lining on a lot of detail. Looks really nice. Let's go and look at his back. Wow, look at that. He does not miss back day. I mean, it looks really crazy. And he has a muscular butt too. Like that. Look at that. You see the muscles definition on the back of the legs and the area of there, which is kind of crazy. And then you can even see some indentations of the calves, which is interesting because you really don't see that on the figure. So that's really cool. So let's look at the articulation. Head, left, right. Heads and, up and down, can go that way. Then you got the rotator cuff here. Real smooth. Look at that. That's real smooth. Just like Jada, not Jada. Storm Collectibles figures, very, very fluid, very motion, And the hands don't come off easily, which is cool because that happens a lot with other characters. Then you got, I guess, maybe it's not really an ab crunch. It's kind of loose. Just like I said, it's giving me definitely Storm Collectible vibes. So, it rotates to here. Looks really nice. The figure does feel a little like, kind of not, just got to be careful with it. You know what I mean? Not to go too crazy on it. So, got to be careful. So let's see how far this goes up. Not too far. Then he has the knee. Look how, like I said, that's really smooth. You don't have, like McFarlane or some of the other, maybe the G.I. Joe where you gotta really pull it and you hear it snap. You don't even hear nothing. It's really smooth. Like I said, just like the Storm Collectible figure. So, really, really nice. He has a swivel here. And then he has that articulation in the toe ticulation, I guess they call it. The cape is a beautiful soft goods cape, looks really nice. And he has the yellow Superman thing on there. Looks really, really nice. It's a really good fabric cape on there. So yeah, this is definitely a premium figure, as you can see. So let's see what accessory it comes with. Let's go and start. It comes with a bunch of hands. So first off, he has these, open hands. And then his flying or slap your mama hands. And I like those little peg things. It's really cool. You got some other open hands. They're little, medium couple of hands on there. Maybe to choke somebody. And then he also comes with another pair of fists. Now these fists are different than the ones that are on the figure. As you can see, there's a little indentation on there, on this side. So, And then you have these, and there's another hand that comes with him, which is actually the Batman hand, and I'm assuming that's kryptonite on the ring. So when he fights Batman, or when Superman fights Batman, Batman has something. Now, these, I guess these are vines. I mean, I gotta look into the story. I really need to. I need to start looking up at some of these character stories because this is really cool. Because these are basically, I believe, Poison Ivy's. And on the Poison Ivy figure, if you see the artwork, you can see she's, I guess has them captive. So I gotta look. I really gotta really know that. So I think this one goes on the neck, or one goes on the neck. I don't know. Let me see how the box looks. Oh yeah, these two go on the arms, and this goes on the neck. So interesting. Kind of weird, right? But And then his other head sculpt, which you have the red eyes there. This one looks really cool. I really like this one. I'll probably use this one in my posing and everything. And then he comes with the figure stand. Because of course you can pose them in different ways. And so we'll go and pop that out and in a minute. So you know, very, very premium. Just like I said, just like the, you know, the G.I. Joe figures that came out for, you know, the premium figures that I have. All right, so like I said, like the only thing I said, he does look kind of small. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do some comparisons to some of the other Superman and also some of the other figures in the line. Just get a real quick comparison on them. So we'll be right back with that. All right, let's do some comparisons to some of the figures we got in my collection of Superman figures. First up, we have the DC Collectible or DC Classics figure from Mattel. So Mattel, of course, has gotten back the rights to DC figures. So here we go again. So it's going to be interesting and how this looks. Again, I'm sure we can get some more crossovers, just like with Masters of the Universe and Super. You know, they did that already, right, with the classics. So we'll see how it looks when they come out with. One thing I did notice about this figure, though, and I've had them for a while, so I think there's some discoloration coming out, as you can see on the arms color compared to the chest, and then of course the legs. So I don't know what's going on. I'm wondering if that's just time, I guess. I don't know. Next up, we have I have a few of the McFarlane Supermans. I am still waiting for the one that that classic one that came out. But here he is next to, I forgot which version this one is. This is one of my first Superman figures. So of course you can see different size. I mean, this is really tiny. Like, it's a tiny figure. It's really small, which I didn't expect. I thought he would be at least a little wider, a little, you know, bigger. You know what I mean? So yeah. So here's another, and this one is the Death of Superman with the, oh goodness, and he is very enamored since Doomsday has hurt him so much. And the one thing about that figure, this one, it doesn't stand as well, but as you can see, the comparison terms on that. And let's do one more. And that's Christopher Reeve's one of my favorite ones out of the line. Of course, you know, different, but of course, you know, you got this soft goods cape, which is really cool. But of course, this one is a little bit more superior, as you can see on that. Okay, he doesn't want to stand anymore. That sucks. All right, and I also just for a couple of other figures that I have in my, you know, we'll look at real quick, and that's basically the Storm Collectibles. And like I said, what I said, just like this one, I mean, you know, the fluid legs, you know, just look a lot better on these figures. You know, they just move a lot smoother. Just so that's, you know, basically a premium figure right there, which is really cool. And then let's look at G.I. Joe Classified, which is a rare figure now. I don't know what's going on with the pre-orders or what. I'm actually looking. I was able to get him, but people are having a hard time finding Dial Tone. I don't know what's going on, but here he is. So it's basically, like I said, like this figure, like, is great, but it looks very small, even compared to like G.I. Joe Classified. It looks like Dial Tone would be able to, you know, at least put in a good fight on him. So, which is a little interesting. All right. Well, let's get this guy on my turntable to get my final thoughts on the MAFEX Batman Hush Superman figure. All right, here are my final thoughts on the MAFEX Batman Hush Superman figure. All in all, I mean, it's a pretty cool figure. I'm loving the colors. I'm loving the smooth articulation, the smooth, you know, flow of joints. Accessory is pretty cool. You know, I think for me though, to be honest, for the price, the figure's kind of small. I guess maybe I'm just used to bigger figures now. I mean, now with the Mondo figures coming out, I really feel like I just, you know, but in reality, like, I really thought this was a little bit bigger. So he's, you know, and he's kind of fragile, like, meaning I'm afraid to break him. I know he's not gonna break, but, you know, but in terms of posability, there's so much you can do with this, especially if you're, you know, into doing photography this would be a perfect figure to work with. Just do not use that crappy flight stand. That is, like, it kept falling down. I'm using the DC one, which, I mean, it's so funny. That figure was a lot more cheaper, and you got a higher quality flight stand. So that's one thing that, is unfortunate. So definitely, I might have to figure out, probably invest in another, flight stand for this guy, because like I said, the one that comes with it is crap. Oh no, like I said, he's a decent figure. He's pretty cool. Like I said, is he worth the price? I'm not gonna give the price out there. Just look him up, you'll see. I don't think so. I think $70, $60. That, I think, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, there's a lot to it, but then again, there's a lot that could go better. Like I said, when you pay for premium figures, I'm thinking Storm Collectibles, at least the size could have been different. But I'm still, hopefully, getting my Cyborg Superman, and I will finish that one. I will probably also get the Eradicator and Superboy, and just finish that, and then just call it a day with those. Maybe a Poison Ivy, we'll see. I just got to see if I really want to, invest more money in these. But anyway, so far this guy is sold out everywhere. You can still get him on Amazon, but I think the price went up a little bit more. I think I saw him, I think he's now $140. I didn't pay that. I paid a little lower than that, but still, you can get him, or you can get him aftermarket on eBay and try to get a sale on him. But, other than that, he is gone everywhere. So, if you want to get him, just go ahead and, take it. Like I said, does it mean it's worth it for that price? No. I think, like I said, it's a great figure. There's so many things you can do with it. It's probably one of the best Superman figures I have, but the problem for me is the size. I think he's just a little too small, he could have been a little bit bulkier, and like I said, that flight set just really, really messes it up for it, because you just really want to do all these cool poses and stuff, but the dang thing just falls apart. So that's really unfortunate. But anyway, do you guys collect MAFEX figures? Do you have any in your collection? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, we'll see you later.
Ladies and gentlemen,
make sure you like, share, and subscribe.